The sidewalk was burning under the New Mexico sun when 5-year-old Lily fell. Not from tripping from being pushed. Her small hands scraped the concrete. Her breath caught in sobs she tried to swallow. Around her, older kids laughed, their voices sharp and cruel, circling like wolves around wounded prey. "Freak!" one boy shouted. "Why do you talk like that?" Lily couldn't answer. Her brain worked differently, slower, gentler, kinder than theirs. She clutched her backpack, the one with the faded butterfly patch her mom had sewn on, and tried to make herself small. If she stayed quiet, maybe they'd leave. But they never did. This wasn't the first time. It wouldn't be the last. Unless someone intervened, and intervention was about to arrive on 2 wheels, wrapped in black leather, roaring like thunder across the desert. The world Lily knew. Lily Martinez loved 3 things. Her mother's pancakes, counting pebbles on the way home from school, and the hummingbirds that visited their backyard feeder every morning. She didn't understand why other kids didn't see the world the way she did, full of small wonders, patterns in the cracks of sidewalks, colors that sang. Her mother, Rosa, worked 2 jobs to keep them afloat. Her father had left years ago, unable to handle the diagnosis. Intellectual disability, they called it. Rosa called it a gift. A child who saw beauty where others saw broken pavement, who offered hugs when others offered fists. But the world wasn't kind to children like Lily. Every day after school, the walk home became a gauntlet. The same group of neighborhood kids, bored, cruel, emboldened by anonymity, would wait. Sometimes it was words, sometimes rocks. Today, it was both. Lily's knees bled. Her dress, the yellow one with sunflowers, was torn at the hem. She wanted to scream, to run, to disappear. But her legs wouldn't move. Fear had frozen her in place. Then she heard it, the rumble, engines and eyes. At first, Lily thought it was thunder. But the sky was clear, endless blue stretching over Albuquerque's sprawling streets. The sound grew louder, deep, guttural, shaking the air itself. The bullies heard it too. They stopped, confused, as 6 motorcycles turned the corner, engines snarling, chrome gleaming in the afternoon light. The lead rider was massive, shoulders broad as a doorway, his black vest covered in patches. Across the back, in bold white letters, Punishers, MC, Law Enforcement. The kids scattered like roaches under a flashlight. All except one, the ringleader. A boy named Danny. Too arrogant to run, he stood there, fists still clenched, glaring at the bikers as they rolled to a stop. The lead rider cut his engine. Silence crashed down. He removed his helmet slowly, revealing a weathered face, salt and pepper beard, eyes that had seen too much pain and decided to do something about it. His name was Jack, former Marine, former cop, current nurse at the VA hospital. And right now, he was staring at a little girl with bleeding knees and terror in her eyes. "You all right, sweetheart?" His voice was rough but warm, like gravel wrapped in wool. Lily couldn't speak. She nodded. Tears streaming. Jack dismounted, his boots heavy on the pavement. The other riders followed, men and women. All ages. All backgrounds. One was a school teacher, another, a medic. 2 were veterans who'd lost limbs but not their will to protect. Together, they formed a wall between Lily and the world that hurt her. Jack knelt, making himself small, non-threatening. "My name's Jack. These are my friends. We're here to help. Nobody's going to hurt you anymore." Danny, the bully, tried bravado. "You can't do anything. We didn't do nothing." Jack didn't even look at him. But another rider, a woman named Sarah, stocky and fierce, with a prosthetic leg visible beneath her jeans, turned her gaze on the boy. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Danny's courage crumbled. He ran. The call for help. Rosa Martinez had been frantic when the school called. Lily was late. She was never late. Rosa left work, drove through the neighborhood, heart pounding, searching every street. When she found her daughter surrounded by bikers, her first instinct was fear. Bikers, tattoos, leather, everything the news told her to avoid. But then she saw Jack holding Lily's hand, Sarah cleaning her scraped knees with a first aid kit, another rider offering Lily a juice box and a gentle smile. She saw her daughter, her scared, fragile daughter, leaning into Jack's shoulder, finally breathing normally. Rosa's fear evaporated. "Are you her mom?" Jack asked, standing as Rosa approached. "Yes." What happened?" "Kids were hurting her. We stopped it." Jack's voice was simple, factual. No heroism in his tone. Just duty. "This happen a lot?" Rosa's face crumpled. "Every day. I've called the school. The police. Nobody does anything. She's different. And they hate her for it." Jack exchanged glances with his crew. Sarah nodded. Another rider, a broad-shouldered man named Marcus, former Army Ranger, cracked his knuckles. "Not in threat. In determination." "Not anymore," Jack said. "We'll make sure of it. The Punisher's code." The Punisher's MC wasn't your average biker club. No drugs, no crime, no violence, unless it was in defense of those who couldn't defend themselves. Founded by veterans and law enforcement officers, their mission was simple: protect the innocent, especially children. They'd seen too many kids fall through the cracks, bullied, abused, forgotten. So they became the net, the wall, the roar that made predators think twice. That night, the club gathered at Jack's house. Rosa brought Lily, nervous but hopeful. The living room was full of leather and laughter. Stories traded over coffee and cookies. Lily sat quietly at first, clutching her butterfly backpack. Watching these giants with their tattoos and scars move gently around her, offering her toys, asking her about school, listening, really listening. When she spoke in her halting, careful way, Sarah sat beside her. "You like butterflies?" Lily nodded. "Me too. You know why butterflies are cool? They start out as caterpillars, small, scared, hiding. But then they change. They grow wings. They become something beautiful and strong." Sarah tapped Lily's backpack. "You're gonna grow wings too, kiddo." Lily smiled. It was small, fragile, but real. Jack explained the plan to Rosa. "We'll escort her to and from school. We'll work with a self-defense group to teach her confidence. And we'll make it very clear to the neighborhood that Lily is under our protection." "Will that scare people?" Rosa asked, worried. Marcus grinned. "Good. Let 'em be scared. Fear keeps kids safe when kindness fails." The first ride. The next morning, Lily walked to school flanked by 6 motorcycles. Kids stopped and stared. Parents whispered. Teachers came out to see what the commotion was. Jack helped Lily off the back of his bike she'd ridden there, small helmet on her head, grinning wider than Rosa had seen in months. Sarah handed her a stuffed bear wearing a tiny leather vest. "For courage," she said. Lily hugged it tight. Danny and his friends watched from across the street, suddenly very small, very quiet. Jack didn't threaten them. He didn't need to. His presence, and the presence of his crew, was message enough. Inside the school, the principal met them. She was skeptical at first. Bikers at an elementary school? But Jack was calm, respectful, professional. He explained the situation, provided his credentials, former law enforcement, current nurse, and made one thing clear: Lily is a child who deserves to feel safe. If the system can't protect her, we will. The principal, to her credit, listened. She promised to address the bullying directly, to involve parents, to make changes. Jack nodded. Good. Because we'll be watching. The first lesson. That weekend, the Punishers partnered with a local self-defense group to hold a special class just for Lily. They didn't teach her to fight. They taught her to stand tall, to use her voice, to say no with power. Lily struggled at first. Her voice was soft, uncertain. But Sarah knelt in front of her, held her hands, and said, "You are strong. You are brave. You are loved. Now show me." Lily took a breath. No. Louder. No. Louder. No. The room erupted in cheers. Lily's face lit up, pride flooding through her. Rosa, watching from the side, cried not from sadness, but from hope. Jack pulled Rosa aside. "She's got fire in her. We're just helping her find it." Rosa hugged him. This stranger who'd become her daughter's guardian angel. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." Jack shook his head. "You don't. You just keep loving her. We'll handle the rest." So, Markin stated, commenter, "We have getting honor. We have getting her." The confrontation builds. Words spread fast. The punishers were protecting a little girl. Some people praised them heroes, they said. Others grumbled. Vigilantes. Troublemakers. Danny's parents confronted Rosa, angry that thugs were intimidating their son, but Rosa stood firm. "Your son hurt my daughter." Repeatedly. "Where were you?" They had no answer. The tension in the neighborhood grew. The punishers didn't back down. Every morning, every afternoon, they were there. Lily started smiling more, talking more, walking with her head up instead of down. But not everyone was happy about it. One evening, as Jack was about to leave Lily's street, a car pulled up tinted windows, engine idling. A man stepped out. Older. Angry. Pointing at Jack. "You think you can just roll in here and act like the law?" Jack stayed calm. "I think a little girl deserves to walk home without being beaten. You disagree?" One. The man sputtered, but had no real argument. He drove off, muttering threats. Sarah, watching, frowned. Jack nodded grimly. "No, it's not." The storm gathers. The next day, the bullying stopped, but the hostility didn't. Parents formed groups, complaining about biker gangs near the school. Social media lit up with opinions, most uninformed, all loud. Danny's father, a man named Richard who worked in real estate and wore his privilege like armor, organized a meeting at the school. He demanded the bikers be banned from school property. Jack attended, along with Sarah and Marcus. They sat quietly in the back of the crowded gymnasium, while Richard ranted about intimidation tactics and unvetted strangers around our children. Finally, the principal, Miss Chen, a woman who'd taught for 20 years and had seen every kind of parent, raised her hand for silence. "Mr. Richards, where were you when Lily Martinez was being assaulted daily by your son and his friends?" The room went quiet. Richard flushed. "Boys will be boys. Kids tease each other. She has scars," Miss Chen said coldly. "Physical and emotional. Your son put them there. These bikers? They're the only ones who showed up." A mother stood, Mrs. Abigail Torres, whose own daughter had been bullied years earlier. "My daughter tried to kill herself in 6th grade because nobody protected her. If someone had been there, if someone had cared." Her voice broke. "I support what they're doing." One by one, other parents stood. Not all, but enough. Enough to shift the room. Enough to remind everyone that children's safety mattered more than discomfort with tattoos and motorcycles. Jack finally stood. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "We're not here to replace parents or teachers or police. We're here because a 5-year-old girl with a beautiful heart was being destroyed, and nobody stopped it. If that bothers you more than the bullying itself, then you're part of the problem." Richard had no response. The meeting ended. The punishers stayed. Lily's transformation. Weeks passed. Lily changed not overnight, but gradually, like a flower turning toward the sun. The self-defense classes continued. Sarah taught her not just physical moves, but mental ones. How to stand tall, make eye contact, project confidence, even when she felt small inside. "Your brain works different, Lily," Sarah said one afternoon, kneeling beside her. "That's not weakness. That's your superpower. You see things others miss. You feel things others ignore. That's courage." Lily looked at her bear, now her constant companion, and whispered, "I want to be brave like you." Sarah smiled, tapping her prosthetic leg. "Lost this in Afghanistan. Thought it was the end of me. But I'm still here. Still fighting. Still protecting people. Bravery isn't not being scared. It's being scared and doing it anyway." One afternoon, walking home from school with Jack beside her on his idling bike, Lily saw Danny across the street. He was alone, smaller somehow without his gang. Their eyes met. Lily stopped walking. Jack noticed. "You okay?" Lily took a breath. Then, without prompting, without anyone telling her to, she walked across the street. Jack followed at a distance, alert, but letting her lead. Danny looked nervous. "Then listen," Lily said, her voice clearer than Jack had ever heard it. "You hurt me. A lot. And it wasn't fair. I didn't do anything to you." Danny looked at his feet. "But I forgive you," Lily continued, "because someone taught me that being strong means being kind, even when people aren't kind to you." Danny looked up, shocked. "Why?" "Because butterflies don't stay caterpillars forever." She smiled, small, but certain, and walked back to Jack. Jack grinned, pride bursting in his chest. "You just taught him something his parents never could." The Little League miracle. Rosa worked tirelessly, but money was tight. When Lily expressed interest in joining the local Little League, Rosa's heart sank. Registration fees, equipment, uniforms. It was impossible, until Jack showed up at their door with an envelope. "The club took a vote," he said. "We're sponsoring Lily's team. All of it, registration, gear, everything. And we'll be at every game." Rosa cried. Lily screamed with joy, jumping into Jack's arms. The day of Lily's first game, the Punishers arrived in full force, a dozen bikes, engines rumbling, leather gleaming. They set up lawn chairs along the third base line, cheered louder than any other parents, and when Lily got her first hit, a weak grounder that barely made it past the pitcher, they erupted like she'd hit a grand slam. Other parents stared. Some smiled. Some frowned. But the kids? The kids loved it. Bikers became celebrities. Children lined up for high fives, asked to sit on the motorcycles, begged for stories. Danny was there too, playing for another team. When Lily's team won, she ran to her mother first, then to Jack. Danny watched from the dugout, something shifting in his young face, maybe regret, maybe understanding. After the game, he approached Lily. "You did good." Lily smiled. "Thanks. It wasn't friendship. Not yet. But it was a start." The media storm. A local news crew got wind of the story. They showed up at a game, cameras rolling, asking questions. "People need to see this," she said. "They need to know what real heroes look like." The segment aired during the evening news. Footage of Lily laughing, of Jack teaching kids about motorcycle safety, of Sarah talking about protecting the vulnerable. The anchor called them unlikely guardians and angels in leather. The story went viral. Messages poured in, other parents asking for help, other children sharing their bullying stories, other communities wanting to start similar programs. The Punishers were overwhelmed, humbled, and determined. Jack gave one interview, brief but powerful. "We're not special," he said. "We're just people who decided that standing by wasn't enough. Every community has people like us. They just need to step up. You don't need a motorcycle to protect a kid. You just need to care." The final test. Months later, Lily faced her biggest challenge yet. A school assembly on anti-bullying, and Miss Chen asked if Lily wanted to speak. Rosa was terrified. Jack was uncertain. But Lily said yes. The gymnasium was packed. Students, parents, teachers, even some punishers standing in the back. Lily walked to the microphone, clutching her bear, her heart hammering. The room was so quiet, you could hear the fluorescent lights buzzing. She looked out at the sea of faces, spotted Danny in the third row, saw her mother crying already, saw Jack giving her a thumbs up, and she spoke. "My name is Lily. I'm 6 years old, and I was bullied every day." Her voice was small at first, but it grew. "Kids hurt me because I'm different, because my brain works slow, because I talk funny, and I was so scared. I wanted to disappear." She paused, took a breath, but then people helped me. People who looked scary but weren't. People who taught me that being different is okay, that being scared is okay, but staying silent isn't. She looked directly at Danny. "If someone is hurting you, tell someone. If you see someone being hurt, help them. Don't be like the kids who walked past me. Be like the people who stopped." The room erupted in applause. Kids stood. Parents cried. Jack wiped his eyes, trying to look tough and failing miserably. Lily walked back to her seat, and Sarah hugged her so hard she squeaked. "You just changed lives, kiddo," Sarah whispered. "Starting with your own." The legacy. A year later, the Punishers MC expanded their mission. They partnered with schools across New Mexico, creating safe rides, programs volunteer escorts for kids in dangerous neighborhoods. They funded self-defense classes, sponsored sports teams, and showed up at every event where a child needed to feel protected. Lily became their unofficial mascot. She rode in parades, spoke at events, and grew into a confident, joyful child who loved butterflies, baseball, and bikers in equal measure. Danny apologized formally to Lily and her mother. His parents, humbled, donated to the Punishers programs. It didn't erase what he'd done, but it was a step toward healing. One evening, as the sun set over Albuquerque, painting the desert gold and crimson, Lily sat on Jack's parked motorcycle, her bear in her lap, watching the Punishers prepare for a ride. "Jack?" she asked. "Yeah, kiddo? When I grow up, can I be a Punisher too?" Jack smiled, ruffling her hair. "You already are." Rosa stood nearby, watching her daughter, her brave, beautiful daughter, laugh with people who'd become family. She thought about that terrible day when Lily came home bleeding and broken. She thought about how close they'd come to losing hope. And she thought about the rumble of engines that changed everything. "They saved her," Rosa whispered to Sarah, who stood beside her. Sarah shook her head. "No. We just showed her she was already strong. She saved herself." The Punishers mounted their bikes. Lily waved as they rode off into the sunset. Engines roaring, leather gleaming, a wall of protection for anyone who needed it. Because heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather. And sometimes they ride motorcycles. And sometimes they teach a little girl with a butterfly backpack that she has wings and always did. The end. If you see someone who needs help, be the thunder they hear, be the wall they lean on, be the reason they find their wings. The Punishers MC. Subscribe for more true stories of courage, community, and unexpected heroes.